Okay, so welcome everyone to this AI mobile applications workshop. Today we're going to be building something amazing. You're going to show this to your kids, to your father, to your mom. So we're going to be using ChatGPT and React Native for building a mobile app. First of all, if you already did, if you haven't done, can you please download Expo Go? So if you already downloaded, I don't know, 1 year ago because you use it for creating a mobile app, can you make sure that it is the most updated version? We're going to be using the camera of our phone. If you don't have the most updated version, it won't work. So while you do that, I also need something else from you. Can you please open this GitHub repo for anyone who just arrived? Um, my username is Camila Sandoval S, and then the GitHub, the repo is DevCon 2024. Please do not clone the repo. We're going to be working today in the browser, so you don't need to clone anything. We're going to be using Snack Expo, and we are also going to be using Ripple.com. Both of them are going to allow us to work to create our front end and our backend without using our IDE. So while you do that, let me talk a little bit about myself. I am Colombian. When I was in Colombia, I was studying biomedical engineering, and there I learned Python, and I started learning machine learning, AI, but it was when I came here to the US, as soon as I graduated, that I did a boot camp, and I learned full stack development, and I learned the technologies that I use right now, React, JavaScript, and React Native. So that's enough about me. I ran into a problem, a huge problem. I was spending too much money on food. I was spending like $1,000 per month, and that's a lot because it's only me and my husband. So I thought, what if I can create a mobile app that before I go into the counter, before I added all the items in the cart, I can already know how much it is going to be. And if I need to remove something or delete something that I don't need, I don't know, those Oreo cookies, so I can just remove them and then add something that is actually important or that I need. So this is what we're going to be building today. We have first, the first view where you can see here that we have a total. This is the total of the list of the prices that are here. They are set, I have a list by default. You can see the trash icon right here, the food name. If you click the trash icon, you're going to see this modal that is going to help you to confirm if you actually want to remove the item. If you click on the camera icon, then you're going to open the camera. If you take a picture right here with this button, it will automatically make the request to our backend. It will show this loading state, the activity indicator, while it processes the request. And then once we receive a response back, we show again this modal, but now we show it with the name and with the price. Also the picture that we took, and if we click on the check icon, then we're going to increase the total. We're going to add it to the list. And yeah, that's it. That's what we're going to be building today. The technologies that we're going to be using are JavaScript for our front end. We're also going to be using React Native, as I mentioned before, but we're going to be using a Snack Expo. So no need to open your IDE. For the backend, we're going to be using Python, FastAPI framework, which is going to allow us to create our endpoints very, very easy. And we're also going to use Replit.com. Preplit is for deploying. It is going to be automatically deployed. And we're also going to be connecting our backend to the OpenAI API. That way we can actually get the average price of any item that we take a picture for. In this code, the idea is to get the average price for supermarkets like Walmart, Whole Foods, Publix. So what is React Native? For the ones that do not know anything about React Native, very quickly, React Native is a JavaScript mobile app framework. It allows us to write in React so we can actually create components. We can use the components that are already defined in React Native, and we can just write in simple JavaScript. What is really good about React Native is that it works as a bridge, and it has its own components, as I mentioned, but internally, it will translate these components into native code for iOS or for Android. That allows us to have a cross-platform development. If you come from any other language or you're a web developer and you want to know the analog, you can take a look. We have right here. These are some of the ones that we're going to be using today. View, text, image, scroll view. And then, for example, I am a web developer. So I will be taking a look at these ones, but if you are an Android or an iOS developer, please take a look at them. And I have one question. Does everybody here knows what is an API, backend? Yes? Not too much? Okay, I'm just going to explain very briefly. Our client is going to be our front end, what the user sees. In this case, our React Native application, right? When we make the request, when we take that picture, we create a post request to our backend, to our API that is going to also make a request to OpenAI API. When we get that response back from OpenAI, we get it back to our backend, to our API, and then we format it. Then, with that response formatted, we send it back to the front end, and then that's how we get the result. So that's it for now. We're going to go real quick to the GitHub repo, and we're going to go to the README file. Is everybody already here? Now? Raise your hand if you're not here yet. So this is the URL. Are you okay with the? Yes? Okay, awesome. Oh, okay. Okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to this URL. So just open it in a new tab. Open the link in a new tab because we're going to come back here to the instructions. So I already opened it here. And this is Snack Expo. So what I really like about it is that I can see I have a simulator on the right of what I'm going to be doing. And you do too. You're going to see, everybody's going to see here a blank canvas because I am not displaying anything right now. But we have the web view, we have the iOS view. It's taking some time. The Android view, and then we have my device. So you can actually see this live on your phone. If you take your phone and you open the camera and you scan this QR code, you're going to also be able to see this. I recommend that you do it on your computer, otherwise you're going to see my code. But if you want to see your own code, just go right here, and whatever you type here, you are going to be able to see it. If you scan mine, you're going to see what I do. Well, we're going to do the same, but and I created a base code for you all so that we can go faster on this. Okay. Is everybody here already? Yes? Awesome. Is someone not here yet? Okay. So I'm going to explain the code really fast. After that, we're going to be coding a little, but first I wanted to explain the imports. So for the ones who know React, we need use state to manage the state of our variables to actually be to be actually able to change the variables. We have use ref to use the camera. These are the components that we're going to be using in our code, the components from React Native. Don't worry about the ones that are not being used yet, like these two, because we're going to use them later. We also have the camera. These ones are the ones for to make the camera work. I also created right here. Normally, you know that you install your dependencies, right, in your IDE. So I already added the dependencies that we're going to be using here, the ones for the camera, the ones for the images, for the icons. This one is also for the camera. So that's why this code actually works. These are the icons that we're going to be using for from for our code. I created this function, upload picture. This is the function that is actually going to make the request, right? This is the function that is going to go to our backend and is going to do that whole process of sending the image. I'm going to go more deep on this later. This is the styles file. I already create the styles file for you so that your app looks really, really pretty. And this is the main file. For the moment, let's not take a look at this. Let's take a look at our variables. These are all the variables that we are going to use. So what is food list? The initial food list that we're going to be using is initially set to an empty array. Shopping total, the total is initially set to 0. The permission variable is for our camera. When you open the camera for the first time, you're going to see a view that says allow to use the camera. Please click on the big button that is going to appear there, because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to use the camera. This is only for the first time. Then show camera. We set it to false for sure at the beginning. The camera type, by default, we use our back camera. If we want to use the front camera, we just change it to front. Camera ref for our camera as well. And then these are the variables for when we make the request. So for the picture, for storing the picture, for storing the result that comes from the API, this one is the one that displays the activity indicator. And finally, our modal. I made a modal that I wanted it to be reusable because we have, as you saw in the demo, we have two models, the one for delete and the one for adding. So with this, we can just, if it's going to be visible, we set this to true. If we want to display a different content, then we change this string, and then whatever action we want, we define it in the unconfirmed variable. This is the template. This is the template for the modal. So what does it do? Right here, as I mentioned, it is initially set to false, and then it displays the content, whatever I pass through this template. Then the cancel icon, if you click on it, nothing is going to happen. If you click on the check circle icon, then you do this function. So I think this way it is very easy to reuse it. And then we have our functions. So we have the functions that are going to actually call this template, this model. We have the show at confirmation. What do we do here? We say the food, first the food name, and then the average price is, and then the price. Then the image, and then we define what is going to happen when we click on that icon. It is very similar for the delete function. The only thing that changes, the text is now, are you sure you want to delete this item? That's it. This is the function for taking the picture. We use this function for taking the picture. Then we upload the picture. I'm going to go on that later. And then we set the analysis. We show the model. That's it. And this is all the code for showing the camera. I'm going to explain that one when we actually open the camera. And finally, we came here to what we actually to where we're actually going to code. So this save area view, inside of it, we're going to start coding. So let's start with the first component. Don't worry about the red. It looks it screams at you, but most of the time it means that you are not closing your tags. So I want all of you to go here to line 155. For the ones that are going to be following me, is everybody seeing clearly? Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to write text. That is the first component that we're going to be using, the text component. So we open the tag, then we write part app. This is the name of the app. I'm going to add an icon just because I want it to look very pretty. And then I'm going to close this. And then, boom, there we have it. I'm going to do now the same. I want to display the total. So what do I do now? I use the same text component. I write the word total. I'm going to add a $sign because it's a price. And then JavaScript, regular JavaScript. For the ones who know JavaScript, we're going to do open curly braces and then use our variable, which is shopping total, and then we close. And then you you see here 0 because we initially set this to 0, right? But I don't like how this looks. This looks like boring. So I'm going to go here to line 155. And can you see actually here on line 154 how I added the styles? So we're going to do the same, but for our text. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to write style equals curly braces. I named my styles file when I imported it, styles. So styles, that, and then when you do that, you see the whole list of styles that are already created. In this case, I'm going to use CurtApp. And it already looks much more better. Yeah, that's very Spanish, much more better. But it looks better. I'm going to do the same for the total. So on line 156, right here, I'm going to also add and style. And this time is going to be called total. And it just makes it bigger. Is everybody here? No. Yeah. Make sure that you are always opening and closing the tags. That's the most important thing. Also for this one, for the closing, you close it at the beginning. Okay, let's do now the list, the container. So for that, remember that I mentioned that we have here at the beginning some components that we are not using yet. So we're going to use this one, scroll view. I just copied it, and right here, I'm going to add the style immediately because you already know how to do the styles. So style is going to be equal to styles dot. And then in this case, the style is called food list container. I do that, I close, and this one, don't forget to close it. In your phone, you're actually going to be able to see some padding. In the web view, we don't see that padding, but in your phone, you actually see it. Between those two tags, I'm going to be creating the internal code. So on line 158, I'm going to add another text. You already know how to do this one. The style in this one is going to be styles that, and this is the title list. Close. My amazing cart. There you go. And then close. What we're going to do now is we're going to add the loading state. And for that, we need to open curly braces. So remember that variable that I mentioned before, loading? That one was set to false at the beginning, right? But if it's set to true, I'm using a ternary right here. So if it is loading, if it is true, then we're going to show the activity indicator. But if it's not true, what we're going to do is remember the food list variable, the one that is right now an empty array. So we're going to map through that function. We're going to use the map function, and we need two things from it. We need the item and the index. So item that colon index. And then is everybody here Is everybody here? Yeah, so. Raise your hand if you are lost or you're not here yet. It's good. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit slower. Yeah. If you have a question right now, please. Yeah. We hear them on your computer, right? If they okay. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to create a view, like kind of a div in web. So it is called view. The style for this one is styles dot, and in this case it is food list container. I am going to close this immediately. Oh, there you go. So now you can see that all the errors are gone, but we still don't see anything, right? We need to display three things. First, the name. Second, the price. And third, the trash icon. So let's do that. Text. This one doesn't have any style. So I have my item. So item dot food. And here I have to, there you go. And then close. Same for the price. Text. This is price. So I need the $sign. Item dot price. Text. So we're good for now. We still don't see anything, right? I want you to go to line 10 and I want you to uncomment. If you have Mac, you easily uncomment all lines by doing command slash and then grab the initial foot, this variable, and then paste it here. Ooh. Sorry, here it is. Oh, sorry. Oh. Yes. There you go. Here is food item container. My bad. Okay. So there you go. We have the initial list, but we still don't have our trash icon. So the button in React Native is touchable opacity. So instead of button, let's use a component called touchable opacity. So touchable opacity. And then we need the styles for these ones. This case is styles that delete button. I'm going to close. So touchable opacity is I'm actually going to show you. I'm going to close immediately, touchable opacity, and then you're not going to see anything. You're just going to see that if I hover over this invisible button, it changes. We need here the trash icon. So between these two components, I'm going to add from the library font awesome 6 the icon that is named trash can. And then this is a self close tag. So do not close this one like the other ones. Just do this. And there you go. Here you have it. If you click on it, nothing is going to happen. Yeah, okay. Can you raise your hand if you What I'm going to do right now is just adding the model so that when we click here, we can actually see the model. So two things for that. Two things for that. The first one is right here on line 165. I need to explain you something. So we have this button, but if we click on it, nothing will happen because we need to call our function on press. So before closing it, right after the styles, I'm going to add the function on. And something that I always do, so that I don't misspell something, is just letting this figure it out for me, and then I just go and click on it, and that's it. Because sometimes, like, we have capital letters here or there, and that's how sometimes I code so fast because I just write the initials, and then click on it. And then right here, what we want to do is an anonymous function. So open and close curly braces. This is our anonymous function. And then remember that I explained before that I already created a function for the delete. The function is right here on line 86. And it is asking us for the index of our item. So I will just copy this name. And I'll come back here, paste, and then I'll pass the index. There you go. So now we have our function, but still, if I click on it, nothing will happen. So what I'm going to do is I will use my modal component, the template that was already defined. So before the save area view, I'm going to add the confirmation modal. And this one is also a self-close tag. So if I click now, I am going to be able to see my model. And if I click on the check icon, the price is going crazy. Why? Because we initially set it to 0. But remember, we have a function at the beginning that is going to help us to calculate the price, all the total immediately. So I'm going here to the top on line 16. I am going to uncomment this function and this calculate initial total, this variable, because this function, what it does is that it goes through all the items and uses the reduce function to calculate the price. So I'm just going to change that 0 for calculate initial total. And that's it. That's how I got my price. So far, I got my list, my icon, my delete function, my total. Now we need the camera, the most important part. So what I'm going to do is here between the end of my scroll view and my confirmation model, I'm going to add another button. Remember how we use buttons here in React Native? Touchable opacity. So, oh, there you go. So I use that tag touchable opacity. I'm going to add immediately the styles. So styles, in this case, is icon button. And then you already know also how to add the function, right? On press. So we're going to do that immediately. on press equal curly braces. And then we're going to use another anonymous function. Open parentheses, set show camera. We're going to use the show camera variable, and we're going to set this to true. And we close. You already know that you need to add the icon, right? So you already have like the frame of the button, but we need the camera icon. We're going to get this icon from the feather library. This one. The name of the icon is camera. So name equals string camera. The size is going to be 35. And then the color is going to be white. Once this one, so always icons are self-close tags. So I don't need to open and close it. This one is just one line. And then now we need the closing for our touchable opacity. There you go. There you go. I don't have enough view for this. But yeah, now we have our camera icon. Remember what I mentioned before. If you're using this on your phone, if you are scanning your own QR code, give me 1 second because I need to, before you take any picture, I need to start my backend. So the thing with Replit is that it allows us to deploy easily. So right now in our code, right here on this post.js function, you don't have to code anything here. I'm just going to explain real quick. Here on line 19, I am using my link, my Replit link. So Replit provided me with this link, and that's the reason why. And I haven't deployed this. I just created here the backend in like 30 minutes, and then if I run this, it will automatically be deployed. But if I don't use it, this goes to sleep. So if no one is hitting this endpoint, it will go to sleep. So if you are using your phone, open the camera. You're going to see something like this. Let me know if you see something like this, and if you are behind and you still want to do this, I'm going to provide my QR code. If probably your code is not running or you're stuck with it, you can use mine for the moment. I am providing for all of you right now, the front end is ready. I'm providing the backend, my backend, but after this, you are going to build your own backend. Okay, and is your camera working? Is it working? Yes. Yeah. So I just saved. Yes. I just saved. If you close your tab and then you go back here to GitHub and you open this again, it is going to be exactly where we are. Can you see the camera? Yes? Okay, good. Is everybody here not seeing the camera on the phone? Or everybody's here? Yes? Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry? No, 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 no. I didn't because it's very like is for creating a big app, we need like multiple functions. We need the database for storing the users, like the login. Like I think that's the most important um thing that we can grab from the app, the information of the users. And we need to connect that to the database. If we'll be creating a real app, we will be storing all the items, all the food of the user, um, storing the updates when they added it, everything. Yeah. I want you to do something. So we're going to identify the price of some items. For the ones that have this working, can you take a picture of any of these items and let me know if you get the price? Please let me know. Right now we have the closing, the picture, and also change front and back. You get the price? You can zoom in. Okay. But if you take, what happens if you take the whole picture of everything? Did anyone get the price? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, perfect. So you got the apple? Okay. Okay, awesome. So we have our front end working. I'm just going to go out of this. So we're going to create the backend now. I provided my backend, my API for all of you, so you can use it. But once this workshop ends, you will no longer be able to use it because, as I mentioned, Ripley likes to go to sleep if it is not being used. So let me just close this. In the GitHub repo, you're going to see the next instructions for creating the backend. So is anybody going to create their own backend? I mean, the API key and everything? Is someone, if you're going to do it, raise your hand? Because if not, I can go faster on this. No? No? Okay. So the thing is, if you will ever want to do it, you have to pay a minimum amount of $5 to OpenAI in order to use it. So you can use mine for the moment. But these are the first three instructions are to go to openai.com, log in, create an account, then pay the $5 that you need in order to use this model, and then create your API key. And here in the code, if you're going to do that, you will have to replace with your own API key. But if you're not, I'm going to show the process real quick. I'm just going to stop this for a second. So this is Replit. I like that it already gives you a template. If you're going to create anything and you're not very sure how to do it, you're a beginner, you can go here. It already has a lot of templates. Um, So you just log in. I will log in with my account. And you have to click on this button that says create ripple. Then you look for the template. As I mentioned, there are a lot of templates here. So if I click on the FastAPI and I name this card app 2 and I create it, that's all I need to do for this. This comes with some AI in case that I want this to explain me the code, or I want to add a functionality, for example. But what we are going to do here is remove this code. We don't need it because here in the GitHub repo, we already have the code. So for Python, whoever codes in Python, you know that you need some dependencies. These are the dependencies. If you don't install them, the code is not going to work. We need the OpenAI one and also the one for handle images, Python multipart. So we're going to install one by one. If I go to Replit, I already copied the first dependency, and I'm going to go here to shell. If you don't have it open, you can just click here and it will be somewhere in here where it says tools. But if you already have it open by default, just paste the dependency. Then I'm going to copy the second one. And once this is done, I can see here. There you go. I'm going to paste the second one. That one was faster. And finally, I'm going to copy my whole code and then paste it here. Because we are on 2024. Who likes to write code, right? Who like to copy? No, I'm just kidding. But this code is very, very simple. This is the one that is provided by OpenAI. What we have to import here are the FastAPI. And not many people is familiar with FastAPI, but it's amazing. It allows us to create an input like this simple. Here, if I run this, I'm going to see the web view, and I'm immediately going to see this endpoint. Hello, DevGun. And you have to replace this with your API key in case that you are using your own, but I think nobody here is using the own API key, right? Okay. What we do here, if we are using our own images, like in this case, we're taking the picture from our phone, we have to convert them to base 64. That is the first step that we do. Well, first we read the image that comes from our front end, then we convert them to base 64, and then, as I mentioned, this is the code that is provided by OpenAI. We use this prompt. So I think this is the most important part of this because this prompt is huge. It has multiple parts. So the first one is the role. So I tell ChatGPT, you're an agent specialized in tagging images of food and providing its possible price. So he knows what to do. Then I tell him, you will be provided with an image and your goal is to identify what food it is and its estimated price. So that's what I expect, the return. The price shouldn't be the most updated. Just give an estimate from stores like Walmart, Publix, Whole Foods. I had to write this prompt because I notice that sometimes ChatGPT will tell me an apple is 0.7 cents, and then some other time it will tell me it's $2. So by doing this, I was able to get the average, and it is all most of the time it is the same. If you take multiple pictures of the apple of the seller, it's going to give you the exact price. Yes? No, no. So my assumption here is that because I am speaking in English, it must like assume that it doesn't get any location, not the information of my location, but it must assume that it is Walmart from here in the US. Average. Yeah, average. That's the reason why I had to put this, because it was sometimes zero, like the bananas. I remember it was 0 point for one banana, zero 0.15. Yes, and some others like 0.80, and it was bad with this. I was like, I got surprised because it was most of the time always the same price. And yes, exclude. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So that that's the intention. We can do anything we want with this prompt. If I would like, I can select just for Florida, and that's how we can actually play with this. And why I like to give this workshop is because we can create so many things out from this. Um, it's pretty amazing. The instructions that you give to ChatGPT are the key on how you're going to get the answer. And because, for example, if you look at the next one, return the food and the price. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Return the food and the price in the format of a string separated with an equal sign, like this. Old fashioned oatmeal equal 3.99. So why? Because sometimes I will get answers like very bright, delicious red apple. And that is not what I wanted to get, because for my front end it will be very confusing. But here, if also you need to always give an example. So I need this, like this. This is how this is the format that I need. And if you don't get to, like, keep trying to change the prompt so that you actually match what you expect. Um, then edge cases. If it is not food or you can't identify the price, just return unknown. And I have in my front end defined, if it is unknown, then don't show the model, because I don't want to see unknown price is unknown. So um, that's it for the unknown. And then if there are two or more items in the image, return only one item. That's why if you took a picture of the three of them, it just chooses one item. But if you can modify this code, you're able to grab multiple items. And then if you format them correctly, you're going to be able to grab all of them. But for this purpose of this workshop, I just wanted to show like the simple case, which will be only one. Yes. For this one was the ChatGPT Turbo. Yes, for this one. But I didn't modify it because the one that 4.0 came, I think, 1 month ago or 3 weeks ago, around 1 month ago. But I will need to modify this one for that. But yeah, but it does a very, very good job. Something that I've been like trying to work on is using Claude instead of ChatGPT because it's less expensive than, even though ChatGPT in this case, OpenAI, has been amazingly cheap. I have been using the same $5, the same $5 from me, and I use it for like I make my own projects and everything, and it is still. But for sure, if you have, I don't know, like a million users, then you'll have to pay some more. But yes, yes, but even that, um, besides that, Claude is less expensive, less expensive, and I think it's been. Honestly, I use Claude most for coding, for helping me with the code. It's very very good. But what I like about ChatGPT is that it has so much information that tasks like this, like grabbing the whole price, um, from all the stores, it does a very good job with that. That's anybody? I think you had a question. Oh, really? Okay, good, awesome, awesome. Does anyone here has any other question or the code or Python? Oh, this is okay. So this also helped me to limit the answer. Because I'm only using, so that's also why I haven't been spending that much money. Because the maximum amount of tokens for the response is 15. So I get like pretty short answers. And then, uh, well, this one is for, as I mentioned before, instead of having like um very bright apple, that was, I remember that because I was always taking picture of the apple, the apple, the apple, and this will give me like red apple or just apple, but simple words instead of adding more things to it. And I want to know if everyone was able to, let me just close this. There you go. I want to know if everyone was able to take the picture and to get the prize. Yes? Yeah. For the ones that are doing it? Are you able to? Okay, okay, I'll help you with that. And does anyone have any other question? Yes? So give me 1 second. So we have the prompt right here. And then we get I think I didn't explain this part. But then we get the response. So the response is the answer is always in this format. So whatever picture I take, it does the whole process internally and then just comes back with food name first. OpenAI. Yeah, yeah. So that's why the first one, the first prompt is the role. You're an agent specialized in tagging images of food and providing its possible price. So I just sent the image like you will do on the chat, but in this case, we're doing it through an API. So the image comes from, for sure, from the front end. And then right here, it receives the image. Uh, it converts it to base 64. And then right here, here is where I paste my image. So if you can see here, type image URL, image, and then I paste right here. I put right here my image. But this is that's how it receives the image. So me or OpenAI? They have their own huge model that have been trained with their own data, and that's what they use. But that, I mean, yeah, the way that we can use their model is by using the code in their API. Yes. For images or for, if you want, depends. What would you like to do, especially? Yes. So, and here's like personal advice. When I was doing, and this was around 2017. This was before uh Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, all of them. So what we will do is train our own models. And how did we come up with the best model? We will give a lot of images, a lot of we will test each model, and then like around 100, so depending on the power of your computer. But then you will come up with the first one, the one that actually like has an average accuracy that is very high, and it is the same depending on your specific needs. You can do that. You can use the different models and then say, because AI is advancing so fast, and ones want to compete with the other, and then this one is better, but then this one is better in text, but then this one is better in images, but then so what I will do if you want to get like best result is actually try, and if you're a business, try with each one, and then get that average result, that gives you a percentage, and then decide which one is the closer, and try to see as well the cost, so that you can, if you're a business, you need to match the cost with the result. So one that gives you a good accuracy but it's not that expensive. That's what I would do if I was a business. But if you want to do something that is free, you can always go to Hugging Face. Hugging Face provides a lot of models that you can use, and they are free. So there are a lot of for image recognition. In this specific case, I not only needed the image recognition, so I not only needed to see like this is an apple, this is celery. No, I needed to know this is an apple, and at the same time, what is the price, and at the same time, give me an answer in this format. So I had to do multiple things. That's why I decided to go for these ones instead of Hugging Face, because Hugging Face will do translation, will do images, will do. They have multiple models. If you want to play with them, they're very interesting. From Hugging Face, definitely Claude and ChatGPT right now. I haven't tried that, but you definitely can. Yes, I think you can do that. I haven't done that, but that is something that I can like implement for the next workshop. But that is something that you can definitely do. But with custom GPTs, what you do most of the time is that you specify already the role, like it already knows what it would do. And here, well, you can go more in depth with them, but here you're already being very specific on what you expect, what you will do. So, but yeah, what did they? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I yes, I am. Oh, you mean the barcode of a? No, I haven't tried, but I know that it won't. So if you want to do it easily, there are already so many APIs that can easily give you the what item it is. What so I wouldn't. That is something probably at some point. Probably yeah, you can change the prompt, but I am not very sure it will recognize it. I will, and from a business perspective, I would rather use the APIs that are already, because as I mentioned, I use this one because I needed to do like a lot of tasks, not only the image, but also the other ones. But if it's only what item is this by just taking a picture of the barcode, I will use the API. Is he using my backend or he copied the code? Did he replace the API key with his key? Yeah, he will just need to paste it with the key. He needs to go to platform.openai.com, login. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, okay, good. I'm glad that yes. The only problem, I guess, would be if it has like a huge name. Because some products sometimes they have um cereals or might have like very big, but it needs to be it will need to be very big. That's it. That will be the only case. And sometimes what it does is that it comes back with unknown. With unknown, we already know that it is working because and that it is like connecting to the back to OpenAI. If it comes back empty, there is something with the code that is not working. Most of the time, if ChatGPT doesn't recognize the food item, it will just say unknown because that can happen. Or sometimes if you take a picture and the picture doesn't have a very good quality, because once I did this workshop and it was also online and someone was at his house, but it was like very dark. He told me like I don't get back the the price or the name, and then he turned on the light, and then he was like, oh, okay, we need to have like good lighting for this. That is the yes. Ah, he replayed it a little bit. Louder. Oh, as software developers. So we need to know. We need to know about. We need to know about everything. I guess if you want to actually be a good developer, you need to know a little bit of DevOps. You need to lead like now. That is going to be the next standard. Do you actually know? Is it going to take our jobs? No, definitely, definitely, because that is the main question always. Um, so the thing is, these AI tools have no creativity, and sometimes software there are no at this point there is no like a standard on how software should be created. Like no one can say like this needs to be like this and it like no. So and you have software can grow so big that it will be very hard for it to take our jobs because even if it actually evolves, we need someone who actually knows how to give the right prompts. Have you seen like people that they want to code and they're like build build me an app like Uber, and then it's like no, like these AI tools won't like they can give a template, they can provide something, they can provide okay directions, but not something like taking our jobs or do you pay the premium? It I will say that when you pay premium, I used to pay before premium, the $20 per month, and it was 70%. It was 70%. It will help me. Some others don't, but right now I just when it comes to coding, I prefer to use cloud. It's just 50% of the time. Actually 40% of the time it helps me. The other it doesn't. Sorry, you had a question? That is the yeah. That is the risk with it. It can hallucinate. Yeah, it can hallucinate. So thankfully, for this, it I haven't seen it hallucinating that much where it says like it is an apple is $5. So I my guess is because where because there are so these models are trained but what is on the internet, and you can find on the internet you can find a lot of things. So some of them are true, some of them are false. There is not like, and I hope that that can change in the future, but it is by now it is trained like that. So if for some reason someone is saying, and not someone, because you will need to have a lot of people saying that, so that it actually like hallucinates and decides to go that way. That I don't know, an apple is $5, or that we live in Mars, for example. So you will need to have like a good amount of data that confirms that in order for it to hallucinate. But you can't prevent. I mean, for now, you. So right now, I think what you're doing is. Did you hear about the San Francisco Bridge model? Yes. Okay. So when they train when they train the model, they made it so that they give so much information about San Francisco Bridge that now everything that they ask involves San Francisco. So everything. So tell me a story. This amazing story. This is the amazing story about the San Francisco Bridge. Always like there was one that was like, who was the first person who went to the to no who was Neil Armstrong, for example. He was the first person who was to the San Francisco Bridge. Everything was related to that. So yeah, you can prevent that from happening, but you can train that. And actually, yeah, I don't know. Regarding, I think it was your question. I don't know like how far we can go with this, but it will never replace any human. It will never have creativity. That is something that is for sure. Like, how do I? Mm, as always, it depends. It depends. It depends on like what data are you handling. It depends on the outcome that you receive from. It depends, and that is something that like happens a lot with software. It always depends. Sorry. Yeah. Um, I created it because I was bored. Bored. Uh, but I'm growing it. Yes. Um. So I am growing this. In another direction, another like it's not the same, but actually that's the point. Um, like it not always can be images. Sometimes it can be like voice, and then with the models, like you can create anything that you want. Um, I don't know. I see because images is the most common one, but either like translation and what if you can like translate something, but then in the app you actually display the image for someone who cannot read, and then you use I don't know like so many things that you can do. And once like for example, for my thesis, when I was doing my bachelor's, And this one, as I mentioned before, like back then we didn't have ChatGPT, um, but we created a program. I was studying biomedical engineering, so you know the RX images. So there is a condition called solitary pulmonary nodule, and those are like very small nodules that you can have on your lungs, and then if you don't take care of them, or they are very big, they can become cancer. So what we did is that we had a lot of images of the RX. Actually, it was CT. Now that I remember, um, then we trained the model, and then if the doctor went into the application and just upload the image from a new patient, it will tell if the patient will have a nodule or not. So it would just make that section that it will be a high probability of having a nodule in a different color. And something that we used to say is, even back then with those self-trained models, it will never be a diagnosing tool, but it will help the doctors to actually diagnose faster and go and see like, oh, let me take a look at this area because this machine is telling me that something might be happening here, so let me double check. But they are never in medicine. They're never going to be like 100% secure or safe. So yeah, that was like that is one of the multiple cases that you can use AI for. If you want to uh, if you want to deploy this to, for example, an iOS or Android, for iOS, I think you have to pay like $100, 120. Um, and then they are very meticulous when it comes to whatever goes in their application. Um, so I have heard about it. I have learned about it, but I haven't deployed. I haven't deployed. I haven't posted anything on the Apple Store, neither the Android Store. I am creating a bigger application of this that I will eventually post there. But as I was telling him, for a bigger application, you need you need more things. So you need your database that is going to have all the information of the users. You will have here your profile. You will have here the settings. You will have here a list that from, I don't know, every different day, like every time that you purchased, for example, you will save the items in the database, and so many things that you can actually add. But yeah, it's okay. Did you like it? Did you? Yes, awesome. Thank you.
But
Thank you so much, Sarela. Thank you. Thank you so much for helping me with this. I wasn't seeing what they were writing. Yeah. Oh, mi amor, yo.
Okay, everyone, we're going home now. So thank you for joining us. For the Prachi, for the recording, we usually post it on our Slack channel, or I'm probably gonna post a link on Meetup. That's probably going to be ready in about 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
Camila's LinkedIn if anybody wants to connect. But for the recording, yeah, I'm probably going to post it on Slack, on Discord, and it's probably going to be also on Meetup under the comments. But thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
That's like 3 thank yous. That was awesome.